Hello everybody, my name is Igor. I'm a technical consultant of the SafeK company. In this video I want to show you how to install the on-premise StaffCounter server. What is StaffCounter? It is a monitoring tool. It monitors employers of the office. This tool helps to see what employees really do on their computers. Are they working or not? In this video we will talk about the on-premise StaffCounter server. What is this? It is a copy of the StaffCounter cloud server, and it can be installed on a company computer or on a company server to leave all the information about employee activities inside the company. So this solution raises the level of data security. How can I install the StaffCounter server on a local computer or on a company server? I'll show you on a VirtualBox machine. Here I have a VirtualBox program. First, I install a simple Ubuntu server, and after this, on this Ubuntu server, I will install the StaffCounter server. We create a new virtual machine and name it local StaffCounter. We create it as a virtual machine Linux Ubuntu 64-bit. Click Next. The amount of RAM is 4 GB. Next, create a virtual hard disk. Leave it unchanged here, click Next. Leave the dynamic disk. And now we must specify the size of the virtual hard disk. What size should it be? If we want only to test a local server on one or two devices, then 20 GB will be enough for us. But if we want to use a local server for permanent jobs, and if we want to connect many computers, then we need to have 1 GB per device. But because I want just to test the server, I'll make it 40 GB and click Create. Now I have a new virtual machine. I open its settings, leave the RAM memory unchanged. The processor. My computer has a quad-core processor, and I provide its 4 cores to the virtual machine. I think it will not use all 4 cores, but just in case I will give them. The display. Since the machine will be without a graphical interface, it will not need many megabytes for video memory, so I leave only 16 megabytes. The storage. Here we must connect a boot disk. Where can we find it? We can download it from the internet. Let's launch the Opera browser and write Ubuntu server download. We will download it from the official Ubuntu website. Click Download Ubuntu server. In a few minutes, the server image will be downloaded. OK, the boot disk has been downloaded. Let's find it in the Downloads folder. Let's copy it to the desktop. It will be more convenient. In addition, we will need the File Manager program to have. I downloaded it earlier, and it is already on my desktop. We also need a PuTTY program. We will need it to connect our server via SSH. Now we return to the VirtualBox and connect the Ubuntu server image as a removable disk. Select Choose a disk file, find the desktop, and select the Ubuntu server image. Next, we don't need audio, and in the network section we need to configure the network adapter. We choose Bridget adapter and select the network card that we have on our computer. In my case, I have Qualcomm Wi-Fi adapter. You can choose another one that is on your computer. Other settings we don't need to change. Launch the virtual machine. VirtualBox asks again which image we want to use. We select the Ubuntu server image and click Start. Press Enter and the Ubuntu operating system boots from the boot disk. The Ubuntu server installer starts immediately. Leave the language to be English and press Enter. Continue without updating. We skip updating. Then the keyboard is English. Press Enter. Leave the Ubuntu server and click Done. Now we have a dynamic IP 192.168.0.100. Click Done. We don't have a proxy address. Click Done. The server finds Ubuntu mirrors. We click Done. The server suggests using the entire disk. We can agree, click Done. Use the Tab key to switch down and click Done. The disk will be automatically partitioned. We click Done. It asks if we want to continue. Yes, we want to continue. Now we have to enter the name. You can enter your names, but I enter Vagrant. The server name is also Vagrant. Username is Vagrant. And the password is also Vagrant. The virtual machine that we posted on the server also has the same settings. Also has the same names. The Vagrant is everywhere. You can use other names and passwords. Next, we are offered to security update. We don't need it. We click Continue. Install OpenSSH server. This is what we need. Press the spacebar, press the tabulator, and switch to the Done button. The server proposes installing other programs, but we don't need them. Switch down and press the Done button. The Ubuntu server operating system is being installed. Now the installation is complete. The server is still being updated, but we don't want to wait, so we click Cancel Update and reboot. The Ubuntu server reboots. The system reports that it was unable to unplug the CD-ROM. We open Devices, Optical Devices, and see that nothing is connected right now. So we just press Enter. The operating system has rebooted. We press Enter, enter the login, and our login is Vagrant, enter the password, and the password is also Vagrant. Let's look at the IP address. The IP address currently assigned to our machine is 192.168.0.100. This is a dynamic IP address. On the next boot, it may be different. But we need to assign a static IP address to this machine. Now we will install several utilities for this. First, we can run the command sudo su in order to switch to the superuser. We input the password, and now we write the command apt install nettools. The nettools has an ifconfig program that we will use to see the IP address of our machine. We can see that at the moment our server has the address 192.168.0.100. To make it convenient to work with our server, we will install the Midnight Commander program. apt install mc. Click Yes. Then launch the Midnight Commander. How to set a static IP address? We go to the root, open the etc directory, and find the netplan folder. Here is the configuration file where we can write a static IP address. Why do we need a static IP address? The staff counter agent should be always connected to our server. If the server IP address changes, it will lose connection. We use F3 button to open this file for viewing. We see that it is no any address here. If this file is empty, then the server receives a dynamic IP address from the router every time. And it is not good for us. We close this file. In the local server Docker folder, we have a ready-made configuration file for the Ubuntu server. It already contains static IP addresses. But in order to upload this file, we have to launch the Farm Manager and set up an SSH connection to our server. We perform the combination Alt F1 and select Netbox. Here is a hint. Press Shift F4 to create a new connection. We execute Shift F4 and enter the address 192.168.0.100. It is the currently assigned address of our local server. The username is Vagrant and the password is also Vagrant. Click OK. Save the session, and now we have a new connection. Open this connection and click Update. Now we are connected via SSH to our server. Why did we use the Farm Manager? It's just more convenient to copy files to the server using this application. Here we are in the home directory, in the Vagrant folder. Let's go to the root, etc, and open the netplan folder. Here we want to copy our file, which will contain a static IP address. On the staff counter server, in the place where you downloaded the Docker, there is the same file that already contains all the necessary addresses for the local server. Here in this folder, on my desktop, I have a package for Docker. And also here is the configuration file. Let's try to copy it onto the Ubuntu server. Press F5, click Copy, click OK, click Overwrite, and here we can see an error. There are not enough privileges to overwrite this file. We click Abort and go back to the virtual machine. Let's go up one level and set different access rights for the netplan folder. We will set the permissions to 777. Now this folder has access rights of 755, and we will give access rights to 777. Press Ctrl O to hide Midnight Commander and write the following command: chmod -r 777 netplan. Now let's try again to copy this file through the file manager. He writes that the copying was successful, however, an error occurred when assigning privileges or the time of creation of this file. Click Skip. Let's press F3 and take a look. OK, this is the file we need. Close it. To edit this file, we have to use a different connection. It is impossible to modify files in the file manager, because in file manager we cannot work as a superuser. Let's go back to our virtual machine, open netplan and edit this file. Press F4. It asks what application we will use. We will answer that we will use the built-in MCEdit editor. We write the number 3. Look, here are our server addresses. The first virtual adapter. Its address is 192.168.0.51. This is the default address of our local server. But this does not mean that it will work right now. We need to see what addresses are used in our local network. We open the settings of our network on the host computer. Here is our Wi-Fi network. Click here and click the I button. Look, our host computer, where I am working now, has the address 192.168.0.102. We should write exactly the same first 3 numbers in the address of our main adapter. If in your address on the third position is 1 instead of 0, it means for the main adapter you have to use 1 instead of 0. Next, IP4 DNS servers. This is not just the address of the DNS server. This is the address of our default gateway. We must write this gateway address here in the second line, gateway 4. This is the address of our router on this network. If we have not 0 but 1, then here in the first 2 lines should be not 0 but 1. If in your network you have other numbers, not 192, 168, then these numbers should be written here as well. Next, if you change the first address, then you must change the third address as well. For example, if you wrote 1 on the top, then you need to write 0 at the bottom. Because 2 virtual network adapters should not have the same addresses. But in my case, my main address contains 0, and the additional address contains 1. The gateway address will be 192.168.0.1. I save changes with F2 button and exit the editor with F10. Now I return the permissions 755 to the netplan folder. chmod 755 netplan. And then, in order to apply the changes, I can either reboot the system or run the netplan apply command. With a few warnings, because I used something outdated, the changes have been applied, and the network address of my server was changed. Now, if I type ifconfig, I see that the server has the address 192.168.0.51. And if in the farm manager I try to travel through the server, nothing will happen, because the farm manager lost contact with the server because its address was changed. I close the farm manager and open it again. And now I will connect the server using its new IP address. Alt F1, netbox. This address I don't need anymore. I can delete it. Press F8 and click Shift F4 and create a new connection with a new IP address 192.168.0.51 and with the same credentials, Vagrant and Vagrant. OK. OK again. OK again, and now enter. Update. OK, I've connected the server using a new static IP address. What do we do next? Next, we will install many programs, and we will enter many commands. Therefore, it will be more easy to work with another program, PuTTY. In the PuTTY, we create a new connection using a new static IP address 192.168.0.51. Copy, paste, click Save, and connect. Accept. Again, we write Vagrant. The password is Vagrant. Now we are connected. We can minimize the virtual machine and the farm manager, because we will work in PuTTY for some time. Let's run the superuser again, write sudo su, and write the password. Now let's see the instruction files that we downloaded from the Staff Counter server. They are on my desktop in the folder 6506. Now we need to install the Docker engine. What have we already done? We installed the server and changed its IP address to a static one. You can see in these instructions we have already done all of this. Next, we install Docker. Here are 5 commands that we need to run to install the Docker. First, we highlight and copy this command from several lines. Switch to the PuTTY and paste it using the right click. The installation is finished. We copy the second line and also paste it in the SSH connection. The next command. Copy and right-click to paste. Fourth command. Right-click, enter. Here we have to press Y. It means yes. We continue to install Docker. Docker is a virtual machine that runs on Linux server. Well, now we reboot our server. Sudo reboot. Because the server is rebooting, the SSH connection was lost. Now we switch to the virtual machine and wait it to reboot. the machine rebooted. We don't have to log in here, because we will only work through the SSH connection. We launch the PuTTY program again, select this connection and open it. The login is Vagrant, the password is Vagrant. You will have another username and password. Then I type sudo su again to switch to the superuser and enter the superuser password. And after that I launch the MC. What should we do next? Let's see in the set of instructions. We have already installed Docker. The next is the installation of the local server itself. Open the instructions. We have logged in as superuser. Copy the stuff tar xz file to the server computer. Let's create a folder install. Here, in the Vagrant folder, we create the install folder, press F7 to create a directory and enter install. Let's look at its permissions. Click Write Info. It has a permission of 755. It means we don't be able to write anything here from the outside. Let's assign permission 777 to this folder. Enter Ctrl-O to hide MC and write chmod 777 install. Now we can copy something into this folder from another computer. How will we copy? Again, using the File Manager. In the File Manager program, on the right side, we will switch to the folder that we copied from the server. Here is the package with the local staff counter server. Reconnect, open the install folder and copy the package here using the F5 key. After we copied it, we can close the File Manager. We will no longer need it. Continue working in SSH connection in PuTTY. Open the install folder and find our package. How to unpack it? Open the instructions again. In order to unpack it, we use the tar command with xf parameters. We can copy the entire command and paste it into the SSH connection. Unpacking takes some time, but usually not more than a minute. It's ready. Read what we should do next. Copy the stuff folder to var/www. This is not obligatory, but it is a good form, a good style of work, when all our servers are located in the var www folder. Launch the Midnight Commander again, Ctrl-O, in the right panel select File Listening, go to the root of the disk, find the var folder here. If there is no www folder, create it using the F7 button. Open it and move this stuff folder here. Now open it on the right. In order to start the local server, we use the following command: /start.sh. The command was copied. Hide the Midnight Commander using Ctrl-O, right-click, paste the command, press Enter. The server is being installed and started. This event takes longer, probably about 5 minutes. While it is being installed, we can read the instructions. If something goes wrong, then we can rebuild the container, typing start sh with the rebuild parameter. If we want to see the logs, then type start sh with ti. If we want to stop the local server, type stop sh. But there is another command, start sh with restart parameter, to restart the local server. If, for example, we change some settings on the server, we can simply reboot it, without rebooting the operating system. The Staff Counter Docker is finally installed. Now we can see how it works. For example, we can launch the Microsoft Edge browser. In the address bar, we type 192.168.0.51 and the server appears. Click Login, Advanced. What is wrong? Why does the warning appear? The security certificate is not installed. Click Continue. Enter manager@mail.com in the login field. Password 12345. This is the only one account on the server by default. It is an administrative account. This is the administrative part of the server. Now let's create another user. He will be not an administrator, but a simple user. Click Managers, the Add command, and enter some email address. For example, director@mail.com. Enter his password. Specify that he is an active user. We mention that this is the ordinary user and not the administrator, and press the Save button. And now we have a simple user. By default, he has a professional subscription. Log out here and log into the director account. This is the user interface of the Staff Counter server. You can connect some virtual or real machines here. Let's launch the VirtualBox. Imagine we have another computer in the network. I have this Windows 10 virtual machine. This virtual machine should also be connected to the same network where the local server is connected. We will configure the network for the virtual machine and select Bridget adapter and Wi-Fi adapter. Now we download the Staff Counter agent program from the Staff Counter website. Open the download page. Select the version for Windows, Download button. Let's download a simple agent. Enter 4 numbers. Click OK. The program has been downloaded. Open it, unpack it. And here we must change some parameters in this file. By default, the Staff Counter program connects to the cloud server, but we have to connect it to the local server. Here, in this bat file, we must change the connection address. Right-click, Edit, and here we must look for the upload URL. We copy this line here, and instead of data staff counter, we write 192.168.0.51. If you install a local staff counter server on some host, it will also have some kind of static IP address. This address you have to write here. Save the changes. And now we run this file for execution. The staff counter program is being installed, but with a different data upload address. And now the staff counter agent program started. Let's connect it to the director account. The program writes that the server license was not found or may not be activated. Yes, really. We just installed our local server and no license has been applied yet. But the server will work without a license for a month. This is our test computer, and we have a user account in the Microsoft Edge browser. Refresh the page and see that the virtual device appeared. It is some computer named Igor. Where does this name Igor come from? If we switch to our virtual machine and look at the username, then this was Igor. We can log out of this user and log into another account on this computer. There is another account here. It's called Child. This account has not been used on this computer before. It is being initialized now. And when it is initialized, another virtual device will appear in the director device panel. As you can see, this device has already appeared. Its name is Child. This is because the staff counter program monitors every user on the computer by default. How to reboot the server? Very simple. We need to open this folder and run the command start sh restart. There is a quick reboot of only our local server. To turn off the virtual machine, run the command sudo poweroff. We don't need to write sudo because we are working as root. We just write poweroff. The SSH session was closed. We see that the Windows virtual machine is still running and the Ubuntu virtual machine is already shutting down. If you have any questions about installing a server and especially a local server based on Docker, please ask in the comments. Goodbye!